Scarlet King. The Scarlet King from the SCP Foundation universe is an ancient god whose existence threatens reality. The Scarlet King is what happens when nihilism gets a consciousness and cosmic power. After learning the true nature of existence, he decided that reality shouldn't exist at all. Talk about an overreaction. He became obsessed with destroying everything, especially the tree of knowledge, and he didn't care who or what got in his way. This guy enslaved and devoured numerous gods just because he could. What makes the Scarlet King particularly terrifying is his appearance to different people. To some, he's a young boy covered in blood. To others, he's a headless humanoid made of bones and organs. One description has him as an anorexic thin body with burnt skin, gnarled claws, and multiple eyes. Another says he's 10 trillion times larger than Skanda, with 7 mouths speaking profanities and eyes that kill anyone who looks into them. He's literally too horrible for any one person to fully comprehend. The Scarlet King's evil corrupts everything he touches. He can take over other entities believed to be him and make them aspects of himself. He's basically a living idea, the embodiment of humanity's dissatisfaction with modern life, and he uses that power to spread chaos and destruction wherever he goes.
Your future ruler is blood, pain, and terror.
Mommy Longlegs, that creepy pink spider toy from Poppy Playtime, isn't just another weird doll. Her long, twisted limbs and unnerving smile make her feel like she's watching your every move. So what makes her tick? She was once a little girl named Marie Payne who was experimented on by Playtime Co. Yeah, that's right. They took a kid and turned her into a living toy. That alone would make anyone go a little nuts, but Mommy took it to another level. When you meet her in the game, she's all sweet and playful, talking about how she wants a new friend. But don't let that fool you. This pink nightmare has some serious anger issues, especially against the Playtime employees who made her what she is. What really makes her twisted is how she plays with her victims. She sets up these impossible games promising freedom if you win, but she rigs them all. Take the musical memory game. She added extra colors and symbols to make it harder. Then there's Whack-A-Wuggy with awful lighting so you can barely see. And in statues, she blocked the exit with debris. Definitely a sore loser. But unlike the other toys, she doesn't try to hurt children. After all, she's one herself. She saves her fury for the adults who wronged her. Still, I don't think she's all hugs and cuddles. When Bunzo and the mini-huggies failed to catch the player, she killed them off-screen without a second thought. Yeah, so much for toy solidarity. And when she gets mad, those noodle-like limbs stretch out, her eyes go black, and that sweet voice turns into something from your worst nightmares. Smile Dog. Smile Dog is a demonic entity that spreads through the internet like a virus, driving people insane just by looking at its picture. And trust me, this is one image you don't want in your browser history. What makes Smile Dog particularly dangerous is how it manipulates its victims. It looks like a regular Siberian husky, except for that human-like grin full of sharp teeth. Once you see its picture, you're marked. You'll start having nightmares where Smile Dog visits you with one simple message.
Spread the word.
That's right. This canine creep is basically the supernatural version of a chain letter. Either you send its image to other people, or it torments you until you go insane or kill yourself. It's like the worst kind of pyramid scheme. But you are not losing money. You lose your mind. The true horror of Smile Dog is its patience. It won't scare you once and move on. No, this thing will haunt your dreams for months or even years. Night after night, the same grinning dog, asking you to spread its image. Many victims have tried deleting the file or refusing to look at it, but that just makes things worse. After 3 days, the image changes to show Smile Dog's true form, something so horrible that most people can't even describe it. What's truly evil about Smile Dog is that it gives you a choice, but it's no choice at all. Either become complicit in its spread and doom others to the same fate, or be tortured until you break. Most victims end up either spreading the word or taking their own lives. Some try to avoid sleeping altogether, but eventually they die from exhaustion and malnutrition. Unlike other brainwashers on our list, Smile Dog shows no remorse, has no tragic backstory, and can't be reasoned with. It exists purely to spread fear and misery, with no goal beyond that. It's not seeking revenge or power. It's evil in its purest form, a predator that feeds on human fear and uses its victims to find new prey. But as terrifying as it is, its evil is confined to those who view its image. It can't physically hurt you. It just drives you to hurt yourself. That's still pretty messed up, but not quite as bad as some of the brainwashers we're about to meet.
Spread the word.
Harley Sawyer. Dr. Harley Sawyer, the mad scientist from Poppy Playtime, takes the concept of mad science to a whole new level. He started out as Elliot Ludwig's protege at Playtime Co., but he went from making toys to making monsters somewhere along the way. What makes him stand out is how he tried to save Playtime Co. when it was failing. His solution? Turn people into living toys. Not only adults, children too. He took actual children and experimented on them. Parents brought their kids to what they thought was a fun toy factory, and Sawyer saw them as lab rats. But Sawyer's experiments kept going wrong. There were incidents. That's corporate speak for horrible things we don't want to talk about. It all came to a head with the theater incident, which was so bad that his own colleague, Leith Pierre, turned on him and made Sawyer himself into an experiment. After the hour of joy, which was anything but joyful, Sawyer ended up running a prison for toys where he tortured them for fun with his nightmare critters in Yarnaby. Imagine being trapped in a doll's body, only to be tortured by the same guy who put you there in the first place. What's extra disturbing about this guy is what he became. He was reduced to just organs. A heart, lungs, and brain are kept alive by machines scattered throughout the factory. When he watches through the screens, all you see is an eye that changes color with his mood. When he gets furious, it turns red and teeth appear in it. If that doesn't give you nightmares, I don't know what will. Have you seen how he talks about himself?
Mortality is the curse of the weak, the fire that incinerates the flesh. I strive to snuff that flame, call me a monster, but I am simply a man. Incineration and embrace.
That's the kind of thing that would make even the bravest person run for the hills. Despite all his evil, Sawyer was once human. His transformation into a monster was partly his own doing, but also the result of betrayal. He's not entirely defined by his actions alone, as he's just as much a victim of the system he tried to control as he is a perpetrator of manipulation. Dimentio from Super Paper Mario takes manipulation to a whole new level. Don't let his colorful jester appearance fool you. He is one of the most calculating and deceptive brainwashers in gaming history. Dimentio starts the game as a minion of Count Bleck, but that's just a cover. From day one, he's playing his own game, manipulating everyone around him. He sabotages Fractale, mocks his fellow minions, and even persuades them to disobey orders, all while maintaining this playful, theatrical personality that makes him seem harmless. He wants power, revenge, and to destroy the entire multiverse and remake it in his own image. That's right. He's willing to end all existence just so he can be in charge of whatever comes next, and he's willing to use anyone to get there. He kills Luigi and Mario's party members, sending them to the underwear, the game's version of hell. He brainwashes O'Chunks with a fluoro sprout, turning him into a mindless vegetable-spouting puppet. And worst of all, he takes control of Luigi to create Super Dimentio, essentially using him as a living battery for his plans. What makes Dimentio truly dangerous is his complete lack of empathy combined with his intelligence. Unlike other brainwashers who might have a tragic backstory or a twisted moral code, Dimentio has no excuse. He's evil because he chooses to be, and he's smart enough to almost succeed. He manipulates everyone around him, playing the long game until the very end when he betrays Count Bleck and steals the Chaos Heart. His charisma makes him even more dangerous. With his playful manner and clever wordplay, he disarms people, making them underestimate him until it's too late. He's the kind of brainwasher who will manipulate you with a smile on his face and a joke on his lips.
Sir, behold a grown man weeping like...
Petey the cat, the sly and mischievous antagonist from the Dogman series, stands out for his expertise in brainwashing. This sneaky feline criminal might seem like an unlikely manipulator, especially when you consider he's from a kid's book series. But Petey's early days were filled with some seriously messed up schemes. Petey started out as your typical cartoon villain, super smart, always building robots and hatching plans to take over the world. But what makes his story interesting is why he turned to villainy in the first place. As a kitten, Petey was betrayed by his fellow critter scouts after an accident. They blamed him for a fire he didn't mean to start, and he got kicked out of the scouts. Then his mom died, and his dad abandoned them both. Talk about childhood trauma. He then channeled that pain into pure mayhem. He built a robot called ADHD, created clones, and even teamed up with Dr. Dilbert to steal all the world's toilets. Yes, you read that right. And when he created his clone son Lil Petey, he treated the little guy as disposable and even tried to turn him into a mini-villain. But what keeps Petey from being a more extreme brainwasher is his redemption arc. Thanks to his son Lil Petey, he actually started to change. The little clone showed him that doing good wasn't pointless, and slowly Petey became, well, not exactly a hero, but definitely less of a manipulator.
Step 1. Insert DNA into the DNA chute.
Count Orlok, the badass vampire from Nosferatu. Not your sparkly modern vampire or your sexy bloodsucker. Orlok is a straight-up monster, inside and out. This version of Orlok from the 2024 remake takes everything disturbing about the original and cranks it up to 11. He's tall, skinny, and corpse-like, with one side of his head bald, a bushy mustache, and the worst skin condition you've ever seen. Rotten flesh, sunken eyes, rat-like fangs, and hands that look like they belong on a praying mantis. But how he looks is the least scary thing about him. Orlok completely lacks empathy and remorse, and this is what makes him utterly evil. In his own words, he feels nothing but hunger. He enjoys killing people for their blood. He likes causing pain and suffering and does it with a smile on his rotten face. Orlok's twisted obsession with Ellen Hutter reveals the depth of his disturbing nature. When she was just a teenager praying for comfort, he sensed her vulnerability and attacked her. The movie heavily implies he raped her. Then he formed a psychic bond with her, haunting her for years, all because he wanted her for himself. When she fell in love with Thomas and began to forget about him, Orlok got jealous and plotted his revenge. He's callous, sadistic, and possessive. He sees humans as nothing but food sources or playthings for his amusement. Even by vampire standards, he's a special kind of evil. What makes him particularly dangerous is his patience. He spent years plotting to get to Ellen, working with humans like Herr Nock to separate her from her husband. He's calculating and manipulative, using people's fears and weaknesses against them. And the whole time he maintains this facade of aristocratic politeness that makes his true nature even more disturbing.
I am an appetite, nothing more.
Scarlet Witch. The Scarlet Witch from the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a classic example of a mind completely consumed by dark influences. While some might argue with this choice, let me explain why she's earned this spot. This isn't the heroic Avenger we first met. This is Wanda Maximoff after the Darkhold twisted her mind. After losing vision and then creating and losing her children in Westview, Wanda snapped. She became pure evil, a person who would do absolutely anything to get what she wanted, no matter who got hurt. In her quest to find her children in another universe, Wanda butchers. She slaughters most of the sorcerers at Camartage, brutally murders the Illuminati, including a beloved hero like Professor X, and is willing to murder and replace another version of herself just to be with her kids. There's something deeply disturbing about a mother's love twisted into this kind of monstrous obsession. Her evil is personal. Unlike cosmic threats like the Scarlet King or manipulators like Dimentio, Wanda's victims feel her wrath up close and personal. She uses her reality-warping powers to tear people apart from the inside or crush them with debris, all while looking them in the eye. And the worst part? She doesn't even see it as evil. To her, she's just doing what any mother would do. The corruption of the Scarlet Witch is especially tragic because we know who she used to be. We watched her journey from a vengeful young woman to a hero who would sacrifice everything to save others. And then we watched as grief and dark magic stripped away every shred of that humanity, leaving behind a monster in the body of someone we once cheered for. Wanda's evil is intimately personal. She knew exactly what she was doing to America Chavez, to the sorcerers, to the Illuminati, and she did it anyway. She looked into the terrified eyes of a teenage girl and was still willing to steal her power and kill her. That kind of cold, calculated cruelty, fueled by a mother's twisted love, is a special kind of evil.
And no one will ever take it from me again.
And that brings us to the end of our countdown of the most brainwashing characters. What do you think of our rankings? Did we get it right, or should someone else have taken the top spot? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos about the characters that keep us up at night.